Okay, y'all. So me and Cam worked today. We got everything done too, man. So of course, it doesn't take much to get everything done. The time is, we're really getting it done really fast. We got done at 12:30 on work that would usually take us till 2, you know. But everything's real dry, and I don't know. Nothing's really growing. The leaves ain't really falling. It's. So I wanted to kind of elaborate on the video yesterday. I know I appreciate the comments on it. And Chad had a good point that I didn't really think about. And that's what, we do the channel for. And at least that's why I do the YouTube, document the journey, and get ideas and stuff from other guys. So Chad was saying that if if I did a 12-month contract, well, number one, a 9-month contract, whatever it is not really it's not normal. Well, I can't get my customers to go for the 12-month thing. There's just not. Well, I'm not saying that it's impossible for me, but what ends up happening is I can't count the money up front. I can't count on it, and that affects how I do business. So, and the biggest factor is, and I have to ask myself, and I have before, do I really want 12-month contracts? The headache of a 12-month contract to actually get them from the lawn care customers that I have right now, they're not going to do it for the most part. And then what happens is, if everybody doesn't do it, then it still costs me the same to go do a percentage of them, but I'm making a whole lot less money. So instead of going back and forth with the customers, trying to get them to sign a 12-month deal, or to agree to a 12-month deal, I should say, or trying to get them to have me come when, there's no mowing or nothing really to do with their property. Well, it's been a headache. It's more of a headache for me. Maybe it's me, than it is. Then it's worth to me, right? So basically what I've done in the business is, well, I'm a survivor and I do what I do, and I'm always going to do and go where the money's at. So, when I started this business, I was just cutting grass, and I don't do any leaf cleanups, if you will. It's just, I got, some commercial stuff that I do and all that. But the main reason why I don't go for 12-month contracts, number one, is that it's too much trouble for me to get the customers to agree. And then if they agree, they sign a document, however you want to do it, and they say no, when it comes time to do that, what do you do? And we've talked about this before. I'm not taking nobody to court over a couple $100, and once a customer tells you, I feel like I've said this before, once a customer, if they agree to it, and then you start coming in a drought or at the end of the year, and they start seeing there ain't nothing for you to do, then they might go on and let you do it, but they're probably not gonna, if they feel a certain type of way, they're probably not gonna allow you to do that the next season. Because customers get an attitude when they feel like you're going in their pocket and you ain't doing nothing for the money. And that's how it would be on a lot of the jobs on a lot of the customers' properties that I do. That's exactly how it'd be. Well, and there ain't nothing to do. Well, you could always find something to do. Well, but I have to ask myself, do I want to go through that headache of a small percentage of my customers agreeing to a 12-month contract or a 12-month deal, however you want to look at it, and then it's costing me the same, and it's sucking my time up yeah. So what I did in the very beginning was, okay, I'll just stop cutting the grass at a certain point, and meaning at a certain point throughout the year, I'll just stop cutting the grass, and then I can do other stuff. And that's kind of how I've been doing things. Not saying that that's right, but I don't know. Well, I know for sure that I wouldn't want all my customers to agree to a 12-month deal, because I know a certain percentage of them is going to back out at the end. And then what that also does is that ties my hands where I can't do nothing else except for servicing those yards in the business like I have, where I have very minimal labor and everything. It sucks up my time. Then I can't do, well, back in the day, it was firewood. I couldn't do firewood. I couldn't do any other type of work outside of just maintaining the customer's lawns, which is, there's only a certain amount of money that you're going to get, and you're not going to exceed that if you continue just to do those customers, right? And that was my thinking. Okay, well, I don't really want a 12-month deal, even if some of them would agree to it, because and most of the ones that would agree to it would probably follow through with it. They wouldn't like it though this time of year, especially when we get into a drought and into the season, and they're paying the same thing they were paying me back in July, and I'm only coming, once a month. Yeah. So what that does is a 12-month deal. It makes it where you can't do anything else, and it makes sense. Or you can't do anything else to make more money, because you're still having to go to those properties and service those properties. You're having to show up. Granted, it's not taking as long, but you're not going to make as much money either at the end of the day. So to me, now I know, well, you can do bushes, you can do leaves, you can do this, you can do that. But see, I do all that while we're mowing and stuff. And one thing that Chad does that I don't do is he does the, fertilization and weed control. Well, that's big money in that itself. So another thing too that I may not have stressed enough about is the ones that I have a deal where I do it a little bit cheaper in the summer, so I can get them to go through half the winter to December, from April to December pretty much. And I'm not saying that's right. I might be totally missing something. But I love to have those 3 months there where I don't have to fool with any lawns if I don't want to. And that if someone is not going to pay me, or like the older gentleman passed away, if they're going to not go through in 9 months, they're certainly not going to go through with 12 months, because there ain't nothing to do in my yards by the time we hit January and February. There's nothing to do, because I done everything there is to do, and that to make money at it. And so those, January, February, and March, I like to have those months to where I can do skid jobs and don't have to load the lawn trailer up at all. I don't need a mower anywhere. And if I did a 12-month deal, then I would have, in January, I couldn't imagine going to any of my properties in January to do work and then paying me to do the work as if it's, July. My customers are not going to do that. Yeah, they will, Ray. I don't think so. And it's not worth the headache for me, y'all. That's the biggest thing. I don't want to deal with the customers getting pissy at me because I'm dragging their pocket. Not to mention, it will suck my time to where there wouldn't be no point in having a skid steer. Well, you can do skid steer work at their house. Yeah, I do that now. I'm talking about just for the mowing and the lawn maintenance. There's no shrubs for me to trim in January, February, or even March. Hell, usually we don't get started back mowing until second week of April. Now, that can vary a little bit. This year we got started a little bit earlier because we had a lot of rain and warm weather. But as a regular thing, I thought the 9-month deal would enable me to have 90 days, 3 months, and some change, not to have to run a lawnmower at all, not to have to go to my customers' properties. I'm talking about the regular lawn maintenance stuff. I'm talking about the $70 lawns, right? I'm not talking about the people that's got 20 acres and shit, or big properties. I'm not talking about those people because there's usually always some other stuff to do on those properties. For the $80 properties that I do, $70 properties that I do, there's nothing to do. Like for instance, the 20 or so that I do in my neighborhood, there's nothing to do in January, February, and March in my neighborhood. And these are not the type of properties where people pay big money for, fertilization and weed prevention and all that. So, Chad was mentioning the fact that, if you could get 12 months, then if they quit on you in October, you had the first 3 months where you wasn't having to do a lot and they were still paying you. But see, right there, it's going to get dicey for the customer. They're not going to, like I said, they're not going to want to do that. I don't see how. And I'm open to anything pretty much, as long as it's making money, and as long as I'm not making less than I make during the summer. My goal has always been to try to at least be pretty close throughout the winter, from say October to April, to make about as much as I make in the summer. Usually I don't do that, but as I get more experience with the skid, as I buy more things for the skid, and as I keep doing it. Last year, the off season was the best off season I ever had. I made just about as much in the off season as I did in the mowing season. Yeah, not quite, but just about as much. But one thing about the off season for me is I don't have to deal with a lot of labor. So that means I don't have to pay a lot of labor. So that means I don't have to worry about a lot of labor. So that means that I don't have to worry about things that I worry about when we're doing lawn maintenance. Because the lawn maintenance, you have to keep, you got to be sticking and moving to make a decent profit. Y'all saw a lot of jobs I did last year with the skid, the stump grinder, and all the things I can do with my skid steer and all the attachments that I got. Y'all saw me on many jobs doing massive jobs, and I was solo for the most part. And like I cleared that whole pond, that whole pond area on that one job, probably $5,000 worth of work. I cleared that pond and by myself with the skid and just me. And then I can do things when I want, how I want, and all that. But I think that if just say everybody in the lawn maintenance that I have, it's not going to happen, but we'll just say, let's go down that rabbit hole for me. And I'm not saying it's bad or nothing. Don't think I am. But say all my customers wanted to do a 12-month deal. All my lawn maintenance companies wanted to do a 12-month deal. And they were on board for it. I have to ask myself, do I want to do a 12-month deal with everybody? Because that creates burnout. I mean, it would. Not to mention, I'm not opening any doors up to make any more money than what I make during the summer. I'm making the same, and I'm not learning anything different. I'm not doing anything different. I'm still having to rely on labor. I'm having to run the lawnmowers. I'm having to drag a trailer. I'm having to not really think outside of the lawn maintenance. And then the headache of dealing with all those customers. I've always just in my area, and maybe it's my approach from the very beginning, is if it don't need it, I don't want to do it. And that if I don't want to go to a lawn and run a lawnmower over a lawn if it doesn't need it, man. Even if they're paying me, blah, 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 blah. But I was thinking to myself, damn, I could be doing something else with my time than this. Oh, but you're getting paid, right? I get it. And that's the mandatory minimum. I got to get paid for what I do, right? We all do. But I'm not having to think outside the box at all. I'm creating a box, and I'm fortifying that box by doing the 12-month deal. Especially for a business like mine where I'm mostly solo, or I have been in the past. Maybe one guy out here. If I had one guy, two guys that would come out here, were qualified, driver's license, blah, 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 that wanted to, do that, then that way I would reap the benefits that way, right? Because I could use them on skid jobs as needed, and when not, they could be doing all the lawns. But see, I just have never done it. I've just never put myself in that box. And it wasn't because I was plotting to do something bigger and better. It's because the properties in the beginning, when I didn't know anything, didn't need it. And I'm like, okay, what am I going to do in the wintertime? And so you either got to try to get as much as you can out of the lawn maintenance people, and that's what you do anyway. But if you're totally dependent on the lawn maintenance customers, I just don't think that's a good place to be. I just don't. Not for every dollar that I make. I just don't. I need a break from the lawn maintenance in order to be able to keep doing it without getting burned out. That's an argument there as well. Because we get to October, man, I'm ready to pump the brakes on the lawn maintenance. I'm ready to not have to be somewhere every freaking day. Damn, I got to be over here at Miss Smith's. Oh, damn, I got to be at Miss Johnson's today. I got to be here. Oh, if I ain't there by now, by then we won't have time to do that one and that one and that one. The things that you go through in the lawn maintenance on the reg from April to, now, it starts to weigh on me. Maybe I'm just not built like that because, as I'm out here doing the lawn maintenance, I'm seeing other ways to make money. That's not lawn maintenance. And that's why that's the number 2 reason why I don't shoot hardcore for a 12-month contract, because I don't want to do their lawns freaking 12 months out of the year. to be quite frank, even if they all would be willing to do it. If they all would be willing to do it, and I could guarantee, and I would know that, then I could hire guys to do that, then I'd do that. I got the equipment and the know-how and, the base to do all that. But the way I built the business to this point, I don't know that it would be the best thing for me. It would keep me pulling a trailer with lawnmowers on it. Keep me going to the same properties year in and year out, year round. And I'm stuck in a box of lawn maintenance because I don't do, weed control, and I don't do pressure washing and all that. Well, Ray, maybe you'd have to. That's exactly why I bought a skid. So I don't have to do things that I don't necessarily really want to do. At some point in our life, it becomes about how it ain't just about the money, though, the money's a major part of it, but it ain't just about the money. It's also about my time and how I spend it. And do I enjoy doing what I'm doing? Am I evolving? Am I growing in a way I'm talking about in my mind? Am I problem solving? Am I learning how to do different stuff to make money doing different things? And for me, since I don't do pressure washing and I don't do fertilization and weed control, then I do things like with the man lift, with the skid steer, and all that. I didn't spend all the money on a skid just to keep cutting grass or keep going back and forth to the lawn maintenance customers for lawn maintenance money. Now, I still go to the lawn maintenance customers doing skid jobs because a lot of my work comes from those people. A lot of it does, or the word of mouth from those people. I use the lawn maintenance as a learning tool to learn what other people and what people are willing to pay for when it comes to other work besides cutting grass. Because we all know that you can make plenty of money cutting grass. And if you can make plenty of money cutting grass, then you can make boatloads of money doing other stuff. Because by the mere fact that you're making decent or really good money cutting grass tells me that you're super efficient. And if you're super efficient at that, and you learn how to be what you had to learn to do, and then you learn how to be super efficient at skid jobs and the planning of skid jobs, how to bid the skid jobs, and all the things that it takes to do that, then you'll make a lot more money, because everybody knows that mowing is at the bottom of the green industry bracket of money. It's at the top when it comes to marketability and all that, because your customers will market for you. It's top. But when it comes to the actual pay versus what it costs you, it's not that great. I'll just be honest. Guys like me and Chad and Eddie and Randall and Irv, we all have made it super profitable for us because we're super efficient. And guys like Chad are even better at it than me anyway, because he does and incorporates the fertilization and weed control. But you see that he's even at this point, just like I was at 20 years in or 18 years in, whatever, he's now going to try to venture to do other stuff. And and Irv's the same way. And that's been uh, well, that's been the biggest thing for me, is wanting to learn how to do a plethora of things and make money at it. So I don't. So when we crank the lawnmowers back up in April, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go another 9 months in cutting grass, or 8 months, or whatever. But then when we get to damn October or so, I'm ready to get off the lawnmowers, park them, and not even look at a lawnmower until spring again. I don't know. So, but that's why I do that. And of course, I'm going to cry when a customer that I agree with, that has an agreement with me, and their kids come in and change everything. Well, Ray, you need to have, a couple of you guys saying, everything needs to be on paper, Ray. You're right. Everything does need to be on paper. But if I don't even entertain the 12-month lawn maintenance stuff, I don't have to worry about none of that. I don't even have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about getting the $60 customers, $70 customers to sign a contract. What a pain in the ass that would be. It shouldn't be a problem, Ray. That they'll sign it. For the most part, they're not going to sign a 12-month deal. Hell, I have all enough time getting them to damn verbally agree to freaking let me come until October. Shit, they ain't finna sign nothing saying, yeah, we're gonna sign up for 12-month service, when I don't really offer 12-month service stuff. I don't do weed control. So that's going to take me out of a lot of 12-month stuff right there. And I hope that this explains the thinking behind it. And I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just trying to explain a little bit on why I do the business like I do the business. Not that I'm right, y'all. I got a disclaimer. Please don't think that the way I do things is the best way to do things. It's the best way to do things for me based on what I know at this very moment right now. And I'm learning every day. Learning every day, y'all. All right, y'all. I'm going to go here and eat my Sammy, and we're going to chill with Sweet Pea for a little bit. And then I'm going to get up in the shop, and I got all the stuff that I need to, I got the 90 degree, grease fittings for the mulching head. I sent one of my commercial customers the video, a quick clip of the mulcher and some work and it in action. And he texted me right back and said, are you available Friday to come to my house, his personal house? And I'm like, sure. He said, okay, text me Friday morning and let's try to run down a time that we can meet at my house. So I'm going to get work at his own personal house with the mulcher. I'm sure I will. I told him, I said, let me come over to your house and I'll show you what it can do. And, he buys properties and sells properties all the time. And a lot of times the reason why he won't buy a property is because you can't even see the house because shit's growing all over the house. And he knows it's going to cost him $10,000 to get the front yard to where it's even, presentable. So, but anyway, we'll talk more about that later.